They say marriage is much like baking a classic French opera cake. You can use the most exquisite, expensive ingredients, but if the sponge inside is hollow and rotting, the glittering glaze on the outside is entirely meaningless. Every month, my portfolio of 25 properties generates $18,000 in passive income. Every single cent of that went into building our perfect little home. Right before the holidays, I ordered a wildly expensive Vacheron Constantin watch for my husband, along with a first-class, 5-star European getaway for his parents. Yet, instead of a kiss of gratitude, my reward was the sound of that luxury watch box being violently smashed against the floor. "Did you think buying these cheap trinkets would change the fact that you are completely useless?" he roared, his eyes filled with disgust. He berated me for not cooking, not scrubbing floors, and just throwing money at maids, declaring me an absolute failure of a traditional wife. Most women would have cried. I simply found it amusing. Why would a man destroy the exact luxury item he had been coveting? Through the lens of behavioral psychology, this wasn't rage. It was the sheer panic of an inferior man. For 8 years, his car payments, his parents' hospital bills, their vacations, all of it came out of my pocket. My undeniable competence was the agonizing mirror reflecting his own inadequacy. So he had to weaponize the label of a traditional housewife to tear me down, forcing me to sacrifice and revolve around him just to salvage his shredded masculine ego. He shamelessly demanded $80,000 in cash to fund his younger brother's latest whimsical startup. When I refused to act as his personal ATM, my mother-in-law instantly launched into a theatrical weeping fit, threatening to end her life, while he coldly spat out a single threat: divorce. A solid silver pastry knife is heated over a brilliant blue flame. A decisive, flawless slice through the crisp chocolate shell echoes sharply. The very next day, my father-in-law, brother-in-law, and his heavily pregnant wife marched in, loudly declaring they were moving into my penthouse to manage the house for me. My father-in-law looked me in the eye, humiliated me by calling me a hen that can't lay eggs, and ordered me out of my own 180 square meter home, simply because the deed was in his son's name. Did they expect me to crumble? They forgot one crucial detail. Yes, his name was on the deed, but the $300,000 down payment and the $4,000 monthly mortgage came exclusively from my accounts. True power doesn't lie with the name on a piece of paper. It lies with the one who controls the cash flow. I smiled faintly and untied my silk apron. "Very well, the house is in your name, so I will leave. From this exact moment, the mortgage, the bills, your little startup debts, you handle them yourselves. Because I am utterly useless, and a useless person doesn't need to take care of anyone." As I walked out of those aristocratic French doors, leaving behind their stunned silence and eventual curses, I knew their living nightmare had just begun. Without the decorative icing that was me, the rotting sponge of that family would collapse in days. Life is bitter. Make it rain. Never lower your crown just to soothe the insecurities of others. When you are the one supplying the power, you hold the absolute right to pull the plug. Brilliance and financial independence are a woman's most impenetrable armor, not a marriage certificate.